Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today we have part 4, I want to say. I think it's part 4 of a multi-part series that we got going on where I give you one of each kind of a certain special type of vehicle for under each kind of budget. So we've done JDM cars, sedans, and coupes. I think those are the only 3. And hatchbacks. So this is actually part 5. And so today we're doing trucks. Here's the thing. Listen, the way this video works, in case you're new here, is first we start with a truck that I think is good for under $25,000. Then I'll do it for $20,000, $15,000, $10,000, $9,000, $8,000, $7,000, $6,500, $4,300, $2,000, and $1,000. Obviously, for any truck under $2,000 or $1,000 is going to be an absolutely horrible financial investment, but they are going to be there. Also, I want to say before we get into this video, I'm not the biggest truck guy. I don't know the most about trucks, so there is a decent amount of information that could have been wrong in this video, if I'm being 100% honest. So if you do know something that I could get wrong, please, by all means, leave a comment, roast me in the comment section below so that people know that I said something incorrectly and they can see, you know, because I don't want to spread misinformation. And if I do spread misinformation and you want to correct me, I encourage that. You know, I'm not going to take offense to that or anything. So if I say something wrong, please let me know in the comments so everybody else can see it. But either way, let's get right into the video with the first truck for less than $25,000. Alright, so the first truck for less than $25K is going to the Chevy Silverado 1500 third generation. This is a generation that was before the one that we're on now, someone that you see a lot of on the roads because they're very popular trucks. My friend had one and I drove one and I got a ticket in it because I thought I was going a lot slower than I really was. I was going like 90. I thought I was going 60. I wasn't. I was way off. Either way, this truck comes with a 5.3 liter V8 making 355 horsepower, and it's a 4x4. By the way, the whole ticket thing, I'm not a bad driver, okay? I just made a little bit of a mistake. The trucks are faster than you think, 'cause you're up so high off the ground, so things just seem like it's just going quicker than it really is, or slower than it really is, and it's weird. But either way, I love the looks of these third gen Silverados, and even though this is just a 1500, so it's not a diesel, I still think it's absolutely well worth it. The truck, the interior, I've driven in that truck a lot of times now. The interior is great. It's such a nice looking truck. It gets the job done. I love it. For less than 20,000 doll hairs, I believe that the 11th generation Ford F-250 is a pretty decent option. I did not know there was 11 generations of the Ford F-Series trucks. That's crazy. Why is there so many of them? I don't think we need that many, but they have that many. Now, the Ford F-250, all the truck boys are always calling them by their engine sizes. So if you ever hear 6.7, this is the one that they're talking about because it comes with a 6.7 liter turbo diesel V8 that makes 400 horsepower and it is 4x4. Pretty decent, obviously. I mean, I think that's the highest horsepower number on this list if I'm not mistaken. Nope, there's one more that's higher, but besides that, this is the highest horsepower number on this list, so it's obviously pretty quick, but it's also very heavy, and that's not really the point in buying a diesel truck anyway, but it gets the job done, man. You want to tow something? Here you go, tow something. I've heard a lot of things about Fords being unreliable though, so I want to make that very clear. If you're going into this, definitely look into trucks a little bit more than what I'm saying on this video because, like I said, a lot of people say these Fords are quite unreliable. For $15,000, I believe that the second generation of the Toyota Tacoma is a pretty cool car. Now, I love the third gen, like the new Toyota Tacomas, the third generations are so cool. I love them. I love everything about them, but sadly, they're still really expensive. So the second gen is still a pretty decent option. Obviously, this isn't like a full-size big boy Tommy Holland truck, but it's still pretty cool. It comes with a 4-liter V6 making 236 horsepower, and it is a 4x4. Once again, like I said before, these trucks aren't something that you're going to be driving around in and you're going to be towing space shuttles in. That's the Tundra that did that, by the way. The Tundra towed a space shuttle. It was pretty interesting. But it's just for the guy who wants a truck that can do truck things but doesn't really need the diesel trucks. You know what I mean? Diesel trucks are more for the working guy. They need to tow things, tow cars and heavy things. You can still tow something in a Tacoma, but it's obviously not going to be as heavy as something that you can tow in a diesel truck. And I think the Tacoma is still a very good option for $15K. For under $10K, however, we're going to go back to the land of the diesel trucks with the Dodge Ram 2500 second generation. These Ram 2500s are expensive, man. I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, and there's a lot of them for way more than they should be worth, in my opinion. But either way, the second gens, which were made in like the early 2000s, by the way, are still going for around 2K or 10K. It's crazy. Comes with a 5.9 liter turbo diesel V8, making 235 horsepower, and it is 4x4. That is 1 less horsepower than the Tacoma that we just went over. Pretty interesting fact there. But once again, like I said in the beginning, trucks aren't, you're not really buying a truck for their horsepower numbers anyway, so that's kind of irrelevant. But the Dodge Ram 2500, it's one of the cheapest diesel trucks I can think of off the top of my head that you can get. At least the second generation is, that can still get the job done. Looks like you could probably find a diesel truck from earlier in the 90s, 80s area, but chances are they're not going to, do what you want it to do. For less than $9,000, I'm going to go with the GMC Jimmy K5. I don't know why I said that so weird. It's the GMC Jimmy K5. This is a cool little truck, but you could call it not a truck if you wanted to. You could definitely call it an SUV, but I think it's a freaking truck. So it's here at the 9K spot because it's a truck. Like, I feel like most people would agree with me that this thing is a truck. It comes with a 4.3 liter V6, making 190 horsepower, and it is 4x4. Obviously, this is a very older vehicle, so this isn't going to be a super good daily driver or something that you're going to want to tow things in or be comfortable in or anything like that. It's just a nice truck that I think is really cool. It can do a lot of off-road stuff as well. It's one of the oldest trucks on this list, I believe, too, and so if you're into that old boxy truck look, then here you go. I personally like them a lot. Like the old Chevy C10s and older Ford F-Series are really cool trucks in my opinion, so that's why I put the GMC Jimmy here. It's a cool truck. For less than 8K, however, we're going to go with an underrated truck, the Jeep Comanche. This thing, man, I was on Marketplace looking for trucks under different price ranges, and this one popped up, and I was like, I've always known that these trucks existed, but I never knew they were as cheap as they actually are. You can find these for less than 5K, which is mind-blowing because they're so sick looking. They come with a 2.8 liter V6, making 121 horsepower, and they are 4x4s, of course. Every single vehicle on this list is going to be a 4x4, just get ready for that, by the way. But they are so cool. I mean, if you want a Jeep, but with a truck bed on it that isn't the Jeep Gladiator because nobody wants to pay $30,000 for that thing, then the Jeep Comanche is such an underrated option. Yes, it's not fast. No, it's not going to tow everything that you want it to tow. No, it's not luxurious. It's probably not reliable because it's very old at this point, but it's cool, okay? It is so cool. This thing is sick. For less than 7K, you might classify this one as a little bit of a cheat code because a lot of people could definitely say that this isn't really a truck, but it's the Cadillac Escalade 3rd generation. Yes, you could say this is an SUV, and you would be right if you said that it's an SUV, but in my opinion, big ol' SUVs like this are still technically trucks in a way, and so I'm going to call it a truck. And if you don't like it being here, I'm sorry, but everything else is a 100% a truck. It comes with a 6.2 liter V8, making 403 horsepower, and it's 4x4. This is technically the most powerful vehicle on this list, but does not mean that it's the fastest, obviously, because the Escalade is incredibly heavy. It also has a lot of technology in it that's going to steal a lot of that power to power that instead. But the Escalade is something that obviously is a little bit of an oddball on this list, whereas most of these trucks can be used for towing and off-road purposes and stuff like that. The Escalade is more for just a daily driver. It's very comfortable, quite reliable. It's got a Chevy motor in it, and it's got all the luxury that you need. For less than $6,000, we're going to one of my favorite trucks of all time, the Toyota Tacoma 1st generation. I love this thing. I love everything about these mini trucks. I like the Ford Ranger. I like the Tacoma 1st gen. I like those old Mazda trucks. I like those things. They're so cool to me. They're just little tiny, Toyota Hilux, dude. The Toyota Hilux is such a cool truck. But the Tacoma 1st gen just takes the cake. It's just so simple and works so well. It comes with a 3.5 liter V6, making 190 horsepower, and it is 4x4. There's literally nothing I could say that's wrong about the 1st gen Tacoma. The only thing I could say that you might not like about the 1st gen Tacoma is the interior is very boring. It's obviously not meant to be over the top interior. You're going to get bored of it very quickly. It's just an average, very average, early 2000s, late 90s interior, but everything else is cool. I think even though it does look a little bit boring on paper, I actually think it can look very incredible once you start to modify it in the slightest bits. And if you want to turn this thing into a Baja truck, they really do well on that. For less than $5,000, however, I believe that the Jeep Wrangler TJ Hunt is a pretty good option, okay, friendo? Now, once again, this is another vehicle that you could say is not technically a truck, but I feel like people that buy trucks are the same people that also like Jeep Wranglers, so this definitely fits the narrative for this video, I feel like. And they come with a 4-liter inline-6, making 190 horsepower, and they are 4x4s. One of the most reliable motors of all time is this little Jeep Wrangler 4-liter inline-6, by the way, so if you're looking for something reliable, here you go, partner. Now, obviously, you can do just about anything you want in a Jeep Wrangler. Take it off-road, bingo. Go daily drive it, bingo. anything you want to do in the Jeep Wrangler you can do. The only downside to this is, once again, it is very old, so it's going to have not a little bit of an outdated interior and all that stuff. But I will say the majority of people buying a Jeep Wrangler, I don't think are buying it for the interior, so you probably won't care about that. For less than $4,000, we're going to go back to the land of Chevrolet, the GM land, baby, with the Chevy Silverado 1500 second generation. This is technically the Cat Eye generation, or the truck that was right before the Cat Eye, because the Cat Eye is a facelifted second gen, so you could also get the other one, which I personally think looks a whole lot better. And they're both under 4K, so they're both absolutely worth it in my opinion. They both come with a 5.3 liter V8, making 285 horsepower, and they are 4x4s. That's in the 1500, by the way, not even the 2500. So if you do get the diesel version of this truck, you're making a lot of power, buddy. You're making a lot of power. But either way, I still believe that the 1500 is an amazing truck, especially for under 4K. The fact that these trucks are even under 4K right now is absolutely mind-blowing. They're obviously worth the money in every single way. They're reliable. They look pretty good in my opinion, especially once modified. Definitely buy one if you're looking for like and they're full-size trucks too. Like all the other trucks around this position are all like mini trucks. Less than 3K, you knew it would be on here because I talk about it quite a lot. It is the Ford Ranger. I like the Ford Ranger. I like it a lot. It just does everything that you could want out of a truck, but in a little bit of a miniature, like Mini Cooper sized package. And it's freaking hilarious and it's so cool. I like it. I would never buy one personally because I'm not really looking for a mini truck, but I like it a lot. They come with a 4-liter V6 making 190 horsepower, and they are 4x4. Once again, a very reliable truck. Actually gets very good gas mileage as well. Not gonna tow just about anything, if I'm being honest with you, so don't expect to like be picking up everybody in this thing. And it doesn't have like a lot of space in the interior either, so definitely don't expect to be picking up a lot of people actually. But it's a truck, you know, it has a truck bed, it gets the truck job done, it's lifted off the ground, you can go take it wherever you want to go. And since it's a little bit of a mini truck, they're very lightweight compared to the rest of the trucks on this list, so you could like drift this thing around and have a blast if you just slap it into rear-wheel drive mode. For less than $2,000, just about any truck out there is going to be an absolutely horrible truck to buy, and I do not recommend buying either of these trucks. But if you really only have a budget of 2K, the Chevy S10 second generation can be found under 2K. Is it going to be in great condition? Definitely not. Is it going to have more rust than paint on the car? Probably, but that's okay because you only have 2K. It comes with a 4.3 liter V6 making 190 horsepower, and it is a 4x4. Once again, it is very reliable, and it's a truck. I personally think the S10 looks pretty horrible compared to the other mini truck competition, like the Ford Ranger, the Toyota Tacoma. I think those look a lot better than the Chevy S10, but it still is a truck and it still does what you want it to do. If you want to lift it and modify this thing, you absolutely can, but I would recommend, if you do buy one of these, to just drive it as a daily driver and save your money for a truck or a car that you really do want. And finally, for less than $1,000, if you're on the strictest of budgets in the world, then I would recommend buying a Dodge Dakota second generation. You're not really buying this truck, you're more like adopting it. It's not going to be worth the money at all, and you might get a year out of it, which, I mean, honestly, for $1,000 a year is worth it, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. The Dodge Dakota second generation comes with a 2.5 liter inline 4 making 120 horsepower, and it is 4x4. They do come with a V6 and the sport options, but chances are you are not finding a V6 for less than $1,000, so sadly you are stuck with the inline 4. This is obviously bare bones truck material here, okay? You're not looking at any sort of high horsepower numbers. You're not going to be towing anything crazy. It's not the most reliable truck on this list. It's not the most comfortable truck. It doesn't have the best interior. It doesn't look the best. It doesn't have a lot of customization. It's a very average, just baseline, run-of-the-mill truck. But for less than 1K, sadly, that's all you can get, really. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the best trucks for every single budget out there, from 25K all the way down to only $1,000. I hope you guys enjoyed. You guys seem to be loving this series, so that is fantastic news. Let me know what other kind of subgenres of automobiles that you would like to see on the channel, and we'll do those. I'm thinking about doing European cars next because I already did Japanese cars, so I'll do European cars next, and I'll do American cars after that. But let me know. I'm always up for suggestions, so always let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, though. I appreciate it. That's Vidania, and have a nice night.